I left the apartment with 2 suitcases before Graham returned. Naomi put me in a furnished rental in Brooklyn under her assistant's name. The building had a doorman, cameras, and windows that faced a brick wall. For the first 3 nights, I slept with the lights on. Graham called 76 times. His messages moved through disbelief, tenderness, anger, and finally, strategy. Mara, you misunderstood what you heard. I kept things from you because the truth would have destroyed you. Sloane is unstable. I have been managing her for years. Come home before you make this public and damage your parents' legacy. The last message proved he still did not understand me. He thought the Ellison name was the chain around my neck. It had been. Once. My parents were generous, demanding, and incapable of entering a room quietly. They expected excellence because excellence had always opened doors for them. I spent my childhood practicing until my wrists ached, terrified that love might be another scholarship I had to renew each year. After the attack, Graham asked nothing from me. That felt like mercy. It was useful to him when I stopped asking things of myself. 9 days after I left, Detective Harris and a digital examiner met Naomi and me at headquarters. The examiner had copied the drive without changing the original. After a judge authorized the search, I supplied a long passphrase my father had made me memorize for emergencies. It opened a document vault containing foundation audits, donor records, and scans of correspondence he had assembled before his death. Daniel Cross's fraud was larger than the public ever knew. Money had moved through fake after-school programs into accounts controlled by Sloane's manager. Some of it paid for her first European tour. There were also threats. One email from Sloane told my father, "You took everything from us. I will take the one thing you cannot replace." Motive, Harris said, not proof of murder. Then she played an audio file. It was 38 seconds of Chopin, recorded on a phone. Sloane had given the original detectives the file to support Graham's statement that she sent it from her apartment while they were on a video call. The embedded timestamp supposedly placed her miles from the garage when my parents' brake line was cut. I listened once, then again. At 16 seconds, the pianist rushed the left-hand turn into the reprise. At 29, she clipped a B-flat and covered it by leaning too hard into the next chord. My throat closed. "That isn't Sloane," I said. Harris leaned forward. "How can you tell?" "Because it's me." The examiner glanced at her screen. "The file says it was created on Sloane Cross's phone. Then the file is lying." I pointed toward the speaker. I always rushed that turn when I was nervous. My teacher used to stop me there. And the B-flat, I missed it during a rehearsal for the Liszt Society recital. Could another pianist make the same mistake? Yes. But listen after it. She replayed the passage. Beneath the chord was a small wooden squeak. "My father's studio bench," I said. The left hinge complained when the room was humid. He refused to replace it because it belonged to my grandmother. The examiner searched the drive and found a folder of my old rehearsal recordings. 11 minutes later, she located the full session. The same rushed turn, the same missed B-flat, the same squeak. At 42 seconds, beyond the excerpt Sloane had submitted, my father said, again from Measure 60 Bug, "Let the phrase breathe." No one else had called me Bug. Harris did not smile. "The lab will compare the files properly. If this is the source, Sloane fabricated evidence and Graham backed it with a false statement." For the first time since I entered the studio, something inside me loosened. My father had taught me that piece. 4 years after his death, one impatient phrase had answered him. "What happens now?" I asked. "Now we go back through everything." Harris closed her notebook. "And you stop baiting suspects in your living room." Naomi looked at me over her glasses. "She told you about that?" "The security company did. We had them preserve the footage." "It worked," I said. "You got lucky," Harris replied. "Those are not the same thing." She was right. Luck had kept me alive once. I needed more than luck to finish this. The first time I met Caleb Ross, I threw a metronome at him. Not a real one, a foam model from the hand therapy clinic. He caught it against his chest and said, "Good velocity. You're in my chair." Caleb stood. He was tall, rumpled, and carrying a stack of orchestral scores held together by a red shoelace. He conducted the Harbor Chamber Orchestra and had come to ask the clinic director about musicians recovering from injuries. He knew who I was. Everyone in that building did. He was simply the first person who did not lower his voice when he said my name. Mara Ellison, he said. You premiered a Field in Winter at 19 and disappeared at 28. I was going to say you took the final variation too fast. I almost laughed. It hurt in an unfamiliar place. Caleb was developing a concert around music changed by injury, pieces written for one hand, altered instruments, composers who built new technique around physical limits. He asked if I had ever considered arranging one of my father's unfinished compositions. I can't play it, I said. I asked if you could arrange it. That annoyed me enough to think about the question. My hands had improved after 2 reconstructive surgeries, but improvement was a cruel word. I could button a shirt. I could hold a glass without watching my grip. On a good day, I could play scales slowly for 15 minutes before my right hand cramped. I could not be the pianist I had been. For years, that sentence ended every thought. Caleb put his card beside the foam metronome. The rehearsal room is free Thursday mornings. No audience, no miracle expected. He left before I could refuse. I went the following Thursday because I was furious at him. That was the reason I gave myself. Over the next 6 months, the cold case moved in increments too small for headlines. The audio files went to a lab. Detectives pulled the physical evidence from my apartment attack and submitted prints again. Naomi filed for divorce and obtained temporary orders keeping Graham away from me and from the Ellison Arts Trust records. I spent Thursday mornings with my father's score. His right-hand passages were impossible for me, so I moved the melody between my stronger fingers. I gave the orchestra notes I could no longer hold. I turned one cadenza into a conversation between piano and cello. Caleb did not praise every page. He hated my ending and said so. It sounds like you're apologizing for surviving the piece, he told me. You conduct with your entire face. I don't criticize you. You do, constantly. He made bad coffee. He lost pencils in his hair. When he concentrated, he hummed half a step below the music, which should have made me despise him. Instead, I began waiting for Thursdays. One morning, Detective Harris called during rehearsal. An old partial palm print from the underside of my broken window had been reprocessed. It matched a man arrested in Nevada 8 months after my attack, Wade Danner. He was serving time for armed robbery under a different name. He wants a lawyer and a deal, Harris said. He also recognized Graham from a photo. I sat at the piano with my phone against my ear. My fingers rested on a chord I had not yet played. Did he say who told him to break my hands? Not without an agreement. But he gave us the name of the company that paid him. It connects to a checking account Graham closed after your wedding. Across the room, Caleb lowered his baton. He could not hear Harris, but he saw my face. Mara, Harris said, we're getting closer. My thumb began to shake. This time, I put it on the key anyway. The chord came out uneven. I played it again. Sloane fired her manager, canceled 2 concerts, and told a magazine she was taking time away for exhaustion. Graham did the opposite. He announced the largest exhibition of his career. The show, titled Survivors, would open at the Ellison Arts Trust Gala in September. Its centerpiece was a portrait of me painted after my attack. The canvas showed my face turned toward a window, my hands hidden beneath a blanket. He used a photograph taken while I was asleep in the hospital. He wants to own the story before it turns on him, Naomi said. We were in her office with Detective Harris and an assistant district attorney named Priya Shah. On the table lay a transcript of Wade Danner's first interview. Danner admitted Graham paid him to steal my father's silver drive. He claimed Sloane added the instruction about my hands. He had found the drive taped beneath the piano bench after I lost consciousness and delivered it to Graham the following morning. According to Danner, Graham had asked whether he opened it. When Danner said no, Graham called it insurance and locked it away. The lab later confirmed that its encryption had never been defeated. Graham had kept evidence he could not read, because it gave him leverage over Sloane. Graham had sent half the money through a shell design company and handed over the rest in cash. The account records supported part of Danner's story. The fake Chopin recording supported another part. It was still not enough to prove who sabotaged my parents' car. Priya slid a legal pad toward me. "We want you to make a controlled call to Sloane." My mouth went dry. "You want me to get her to confess?" "I want you to tell her Graham is considering cooperation and let her react. Do not feed her facts. Do not improvise threats. If she hangs up, she hangs up." Naomi frowned. "And if Graham is with her? Then we end the call." I thought of Sloane pressing middle C in my living room. You got the family, the money, the teachers, the reviews. She did not believe she was a villain. She believed she had corrected an imbalance. That belief was the door. The call took place the following afternoon in a police interview room. Harris sat across from me wearing headphones. Priya watched through the glass. Sloane answered after one ring. "Where is the drive?" she asked. "No hello, with people who can open it." Her breathing changed. "Graham said you didn't have it. Graham is talking to a lawyer about a deal. He would never. He married me." I let the words sit between us. "He married you because you were fragile and grateful," Sloane said. "You needed someone to make decisions." "Did my parents need you to make their last decision?" Harris raised one finger. "Wait." Sloane gave a soft, disbelieving laugh. "Your father had choices. He could have handled the money privately. He could have let my father repay it. Instead, he destroyed my family and went home to his perfect daughter. So you cut his brake line. I made him afraid for once. He died. That road was wet. I didn't make him speed." The room seemed to tilt. Harris wrote on her pad, "Keep her talking." "And my mother?" I asked. "She chose to get in the car." I pressed my fingernails into my palm until scar tissue blanched. "What did I choose?" Sloane was quiet. "The drive was in your apartment," she said at last. "Danner was supposed to find it. He broke 23 bones in my hands." "Graham paid for your surgeons." The answer was so monstrous in its simplicity that my anger went still. "You think that makes you even?" "Nothing makes us even. You still have the name. You still have the trust. You even took Graham when he loved me first. Then why did he marry me?" "To keep you close. To keep you calm. To give you a life after we took the other one. We." Harris underlined the word twice. I heard a door open on Sloane's end. Graham said her name. Sloane hung up. For several seconds, no one in the room moved. Then Harris removed her headphones. "You did well." I looked down at my hands. Half-moon marks dented the scars. She said my mother chose to get in the car. Naomi came through the door, but I stood before she could touch me. I did not want comfort yet. I wanted consequences.